Hey friends, I am so excited to be back with you today and finish sharing with you the answer to something that I get asked all the time. How did you come to write your first book? And so I wanted to do a little recap on part one and part two in case you missed it. And just let you know, I had four little ones, all boys. Hey, Amanda. And I was so overwhelmed. I had a dire need for help, and I was praying to the Lord to give me some ideas. Hey, Ronnie. And the Lord did bring some answers my way. I started applying these things. They were working. I felt compelled to share, and I had multiple opportunities to share them with moms groups. And then there came a day when I really felt like the Lord was leading me to write it down. Now, I didn't know if this would be a book or if I just needed more clarification with it all to get it organized in my head. The more time I spent with it, hi, Andrea, I do want to tell you that I was hoping it would be a book because it took a lot of time to do. I was really excited, felt called to write it down, felt called like it might even be a book. And so I'm wondering, have you ever had a time in your life when you felt like you were supposed to do something, but you weren't sure you could do it? So if you are listening right now and you ever felt that, I want you to drop me a 1 in comments because it really, really, really is hard when you're not really sure you can do things. But God sent someone my way. Georgia, hello Brent, sent someone. Georgia Lassard had belief in me, and I shared that story about Georgia. She was all I needed to get up and running with getting it all written down. I was to speak at a retreat shortly after that, and was just so fired up, so excited to get to talk about these things. And I went into the retreat saying, Lord, please just teach me through this. Show me and give me clarity with the book. Well, guess what? The retreat was a total flop of all flops as far as my speaking went, to the point where the director of the retreat actually came to me 5 minutes before the last session and said, Brenna, I think you need to go another direction. And I said, and what direction do you want me to go? And she said, I'm not sure. And I said, so you're not sure what you want me to do, you just know you want me to stop doing what I'm doing. So she said yes. And so I want to ask you, have you ever been in a hard place? First of all, imagine that you're the speaker for a retreat or some kind of conference, and someone tells that to you right before your last session. Do you think that would be hard? Drop me a 2 in comments if that was hard, if that would be hard. Or drop me a 2 in comments if you've ever had something hard happen to you that ended up being such a clarity for what you were supposed to do. So yes, Amanda, yes, thank you for that confirmation. It is, it's hard, but you know what? God used that retreat to show me. I was making a lot of assumptions in the way that I was presenting the material. And I needed to back up and realize not everyone was coming from the same place I was. And so God used that in a powerful way. It was very hard at the time. I cried my eyes out when I got back from that retreat. I've never been through such a hard time with my speaking as that, but God used it in a powerful way. So then I also shared that I felt compelled to finish the manuscript in 4 months. Well, I assumed that was because my boys were getting out of school, and I just needed to be prepared and have it done when they got out, because it would just be a lot more chaotic at home with 2 more home, or 3 more home. At that time, I had 2 at home, 3 at school. So what I figured out was, in order to meet that deadline, I was going to need to get 2 chapters written 1 chapter written every 2 weeks. in order to meet that deadline. And there were all kinds of challenges that spring. Like we had company, we had a trip to New York, an unexpected trip to DC. We had a home remodeling project going on. We were adding on to our home. There was a lot going on, but I was so blessed to meet every deadline, even when I thought there was no way. I had a notebook. I worked methodically through that. I logged every day the time I spent. I put blinders on. I made myself not look at the laundry that needed to be folded and the messy house and whatever. I just said, this has to get done. I have to take this one window of time. So that was the last thing that I shared with you. So the end of May was approaching, and this was when I needed to have everything done. I needed to have it all put together. And you know what? It was going to take more than that 1 hour block a day to get it done. And so May 19th is my birthday. So I requested for my birthday, I asked Chris, can I have 24 hours away from this house to work on this book? I think I can get it wrapped up. And so our friends Gil and Delia Camone were going to be out of town. They let me go to their house that weekend. Oh my goodness, I've never been more efficient. Like, I came in with all my files. I timed myself the entire time. I knew I would be my sharpest in 20-minute segments. You know how they say as far as studying. So 20 minutes I would work, and then the timer would go off. I would do jumping jacks. I would do push-ups. I would go get a drink. And then I would come back and work another 20. And then I allowed myself to sleep like 5 or 6 hours. But aside from that, I was just working like crazy, and maybe took a few little breaks to eat food, protein, and other good things. So it was great. But you know what? At the very end of that time, I thought, this is awesome. It's almost done. I thought I lost it all. I had a computer glitch, and I literally thought I lost everything I'd done that weekend. But it ended up, we were able to go back with the help of a computer specialist. We were able to capture that and get it back up. And the cool thing was, I came back before I went, Chris was telling the boys I was going, and he was like, boys, Mom's going to go finish her book. And they're like, oh, cool. What book are you reading? And I was like, no, I'm writing a book. And they're like, what? You're writing a book? And I was like, yes. So this is part of the whole Coach Mom thing. It's like, you can get big things done in small amounts of time, even in your busiest seasons of life, with newborns and preschoolers and children and stuff. So I was like, yes, I did it. So I did finish it. Well, that very week, our church that called us in Texas, Chris got a call and said, we're interested in talking to you. Well, it happened that we were moving. 2 weeks later, we were announcing to the church in Phoenix that we were moving, and I had 8 days to pack up the house and get the kids and I on a plane, and Chris was driving cars with a friend, get to Texas. So that is the full story. That summer, I worked on the book proposal to present to some publishing houses. And a friend of mine, a dear friend, Esther Burrows, you may have read some of her books, she carried my proposal in person to New Hope Publishing, and I really, really appreciate that, because on my birthday, these things take time. You get the plan here. It's like I finished the proposal in the summer. It was carried there in early fall. May 19th the next year, I got an email from New Hope saying, we're interested in talking with you about publishing your book. And I fell on my face on the floor, and I knew that God was going to do this. It is going to get published. He brought it to me on my birthday, specifically as a gift to show me I'm going to do this. And so it did happen. We signed a contract that summer, and they told me, we want to release your book on Mother's Day in 2 years, because we've already got contracts for the other Mother's Day's books. I was like, what? These moms can't wait that long. These moms need help now. And so that was probably the hardest thing, was waiting. Of course, that gave me more time for edits, which I really, really needed. And I'll have to tell you the funny story on getting the push to get that done and the final manuscript into the publisher another day. Basically, I was not the good example for everything that my book spoke of that week, because my house was a total wreck. Kids were running like crazy, and it was all I could do to get that book finished and get it out the door. So anyway, just thank you for letting me share this journey with you, and I am so grateful to God for all that He's done. It's all Him. It's not me. I'm grateful for the insights He's given. I'm grateful for the doors He's opened. And please pray for me. I'm about halfway done revising the book right now, and I hope to be done by the end of this week, or maybe next week. I really hope to be done by the end of this weekend. I'm revising it. And the good news is the revision is not going to have to, I'm not going to have to wait 2 years, because we're going to release it through Amazon, which will be a print-on-demand thing. So anyway, I'm super excited, and thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.